It's 25 minutes past 7 and it's just over 2 years since Hurricane Katrina ripped New Orleans to shreds, causing widespread death and massive destruction. Well, many areas are still uninhabitable and the recovery is very slow, but stars like Brad Pitt still have homes there. Travel reporter Megan Singleton checked out the battered Big Easy with Michael Love, a local limo driver with an unusual accent because he hails from the South Island town of Hawea.
Hi Michael.
Hey Megan, welcome to New Orleans.
Wow, what's a Kiwi boy like you doing in New Orleans?
Oh, just hanging out, living life.
Homesick?
Sometimes.
Yeah, good. I brought you something.
Now what?
Have a guess.
Well, I was just thinking if there was one thing I'd love to have is some minties.
No, look.
Seriously.
No, seriously, look.
Oh my God.
I did. I brought you minties.
Oh my God.
We're going to have a great day. Come
Beautiful.
On, let's go.
So the French Quarter is just a nighttime precinct, really. Like, we wandered around it this morning and nothing was really open. Is that because it's more bars?
The French Quarter is also a huge residential community. You know, over 10,000 people live in the French Quarter. It is, of course, the original part of New Orleans. I mean, this is the highest ground in New Orleans, and this is why it didn't flood. While we're in the area, I'll show you Brad and Angelina's house.
He's been quite critical of the slow recovery process, though, isn't he?
Everybody should be critical of it because this is, after all, America the Great, and New Orleans has been incredibly neglected. This is their house right here. Brad likes to hang out on that balcony, and it's one of his favorite places, and they love it in New Orleans because everybody leaves them alone.
And they bought their place since the hurricane?
Yeah, they bought this place for $3.5 million, and it's actually a very large place. It's from the front. It looks quite small, but it goes way back.
They're clearly not home now because they got their windows shut. Oh well, it's just as well they're not home because I would have stalked them. Never mind.
This is Lafitte's blacksmith shop. It's one of the oldest bars in America, right here. And it's haunted. There's great stories of people drinking and being touched on the shoulder while they're drinking. This building here on that corner, that terracotta color building, legend has it amongst locals that that's where Anne Rice got her inspiration for Lestat, her series of stories on Lestat, the vampire stories.
I haven't heard about the haunted side of New Orleans before.
Oh, there's lots of it. This is my house right here. It's a classic shotgun house. It's a typical New Orleans architecture, and it's called a shotgun because you can fire a shotgun through the front door and it'll come out through the back door.
Oh, you've got beads?
I got lots of beads. I have bags of beads. And
Loving the beads.
Why all these beads?
because beads have become to symbolize celebration in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know, it's the beads are like a currency. We have them on our front porch and we give them to
Just people
who are walking by. And
random people who want beads.
so we're just coming over this bridge. It's right over here to our left is where the levee wall broke and flooded. Basically a tidal wave of water went into this neighborhood. When I first came here, this neighborhood was like matchsticks. I mean, the homes were just completely smashed. This is very, very tidy right now, but all of this vacant lot used to be homes and businesses. Okay, so this is the brand new levee wall. This is ground zero for the lower 9th Ward. This is where the levee collapsed and sent a tidal wave of water going in this direction, literally sweeping homes off their foundations, completely gone.
Wow.
I met a woman who found her house 9 blocks that way.
So they are rebuilding this, or are these just people who have just stayed, do you think?
This area is very, very, very slowly coming back. Maybe 10% of the people are back, if that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of indecision about what to happen to these neighborhoods. I mean, a lot of the money people want to turn this into an industrial park. This is an old New Orleans neighborhood. Like a lot of the old New Orleans music came out of this neighborhood.
But I mean, it doesn't exist anymore.
Right, but this land is still owned by people. This pad here represents probably 4 generations of one family. People need to see it. People need, you know, it's impossible to experience what happened here by seeing it on the television. You cannot have any kind of emotional connection.
Some say that, you know, but it's voyeuristic to go and just look at other people's trauma. You should be out there, if you're going to go out there, helping to rebuild it.
I mean, that is an element to consider, but I think if you come in as a visitor or a tourist, I think you have to come in with compassion. So this is it. This is Fat's house. And the water was up probably about 10 feet. And he stayed in his house during the storm, and he was rescued by boat. They were very afraid that he had died, but thank goodness he didn't. He's still alive and thriving.
I just love that you would have a neon sign with your own name in front of your own house. Has he always had this sign above his house?
Well, a lot of musicians would move to Hollywood and have mansions, and he just has a little neon outside of his house.
This is his own little Hollywood thing.
So we're now in St. Bernard Parish, a town called Chalmette, and this is primarily, we just came from the lower line, which is primarily lower African American neighborhood. This is primarily white, upper middle class. So 60% of the people of this neighborhood have or are coming back. 40% have said that they will not come back. This area is below sea level by about 10 to 15 feet, and you can see a trace of the water line on that mirror. All right, so we're now in what's called the Garden District, and what people need to understand is that the old historic neighborhoods of New Orleans weren't flooded, they weren't damaged that much. Yeah. Because of their proximity to the Mississippi River, it's high ground. 10 feet above sea level is high ground here. And this is one of my favorite houses in New Orleans, this house right here.
What is this?
I have no idea.
And why? Why do you stay?
Because I literally had the experience of falling in love with the city. There is literally no place like New Orleans in the world.
And since Katrina, how's the soul of New Orleans?
Badly hurt, but strong. I mean, it'd take a lot more than Katrina to kill New Orleans.
In this city called New Orleans.
That looked nice.
It did look nice. Who knew Fats Domino was still alive?
Not you, clearly.
No, I had no idea. I mean, all the other big names of his generation in blues, jazz, they're all dead, long dead.
Well, he's still there, alive and well in New Orleans. Well, Megan's trip to New Orleans was made possible by the House of Travel's community website, tripstar.co.nz, where Kiwis can share their holiday stories. Well, the House of Travel also has this special deal to New Orleans, including airfares, 5 nights accommodation and a couple of tours. But you will need to go in November. There you can see the deal, 3499. And next week we will look at how some Kiwi volunteers are helping the New Orleans recovery program.
I quite liked Fats's idea of having his name up in neon lights above his door. I might do that at my place. What do you think? All right, ponder that. It's a couple of minutes past 7:30 now. Put a hat on and call it 7:32. Time for the latest news with Pete.